but that increases the temperature. Entrap what? Heat. Yes. What traps the heat? Yes. So it's the presence of greenhouse gases that is very good for us. So if you say oh greenhouse effect हो रहा है, it's not bad for us. It's very good. It's what makes the earth livable because we are at a distance where we would have otherwise been minus 17 degrees. But it's the greenhouse gases naturally occurring which has actually sustained life on Earth for many years. Also, it is relatively at a good distance from the sun. But do you know sun intensity has also changed over time? I'm not sure how many of you that we've talked about how there's 11-year cycles of solar cycles. Sun also get intense, and the intensity of intense radiation that is coming from sun that also changes. But a longer time scale, sun has been warming. So there has been in the last 4.5 billion years. How old is Earth? And about that. So that it's not like sun's intensity has been constant. It has changed by 25 to 30%. So if we consider Earth was minus 17 at some point or maybe now, because sun's intensity has changed. So and still Earth के ऊपर some life existed, maybe not in forms of humans, but it has existed for for many years now. So even if radiation from Earth or Sun has warmed by 25 to 30%, something has changed on Earth or something has controlled the life on Earth that has always been there over the last billions of years. So now there must be some sort of internal what is called as thermostat. Thermostat पता है क्या होता है? AC में होता है ना thermostat अगर और actually thermostat is more so I don't know how many of you have been abroad where there is centralized heating रहती है जहाँ cold countries में तो उसमें ना वो thermostat होता है वो sense करता रहता है if the temperature of the room are too cold वो अपने आप बढ़ा लेगा and now I think now smart ACs are also available, right? They would sense and if the room is cold enough वो कम कर लेगा या cut off कर देगा, right? So there are sensors like those. So it looks like Earth also had some sort of thermostat within it. We call it the internal. A thermostat is like maintaining the temperature static and thermal temperature. So thermostat, internal thermostat, is sort of maintained Earth life on Earth for over billions of years. Even though the first external forcing, which is the sun's solar strength, the sun's strength has changed by 25 to 30%. So, when we talk about the long-term climate change, we'll have to talk about that internal thermostat that has sustained life on Earth for longer period. So, if the sun intensity has changed, ocean must have evaporated by now, but there has been water throughout. Or if the intensity was so low initially, Earth would have been a snowball, right? So all the water would have frozen by now. So and then another trivia which I brought here is Venus में क्यों नहीं है life? Now of course Mercury, Venus is closer to Earth, closer to Sun than Earth. So if you look at the mean surface temperatures on Venus, it's about 460 degrees, while Earth is average of about 15 degrees. In terms of distance, you would imagine it's 72% as to 100. If Earth is 100%, 72, so closer to Sun, and as you would know, it would be inversely proportional to distance. The farther it is, the cooler it is. So Venus is 460 degrees. But if we look at the atmosphere of Venus, there are sulfuric acid clouds, which essentially reflects back a lot of 80% of the total incoming radiation. So even though it's very close and you can see that how it receives almost double the radiation, because of the sulfuric acid clouds on Venus, it reflects almost 80%. So while Earth cloud can reflect only 26%. So by this logic, if we calculate again, and if you look at this is all taken from Rudiman book, you go there and they calculate, and that way you would think that actually Venus would be slightly cooler than Earth. but it's the other variable that then comes into picture, which is the amount of carbon present in Earth and in Venus. So in Earth, most of the carbon is present as rocks, while Venus has most of the carbon present in the atmosphere. So there's the atmospheric is full of carbon dioxide, and which is again a greenhouse gas that really warms the Venus planet. So by distance, yes, Venus should be warmer, but the sulfuric acid clouds which reflect back most of the radiation that is coming. So it's not so much of the radiation that is coming from the sun that is making it warmer, right? By logic, it should be the radiation by sun that should make it warmer. But because this sulfuric acid really compensate the clouds that are there, which reflects back most of the radiation that is coming from sun. But it's the atmospheric composition of Venus that is making it warmer, because most of the carbon, both have equal amount of carbon in Earth. So when I say carbon in Earth, including all the reservoirs, remember we had looked at reservoirs, atmosphere, surface ocean, rocks, all the carbon reservoir, all the carbon in Earth is not stored in the atmosphere, but here most of the carbon is stored in the atmosphere in terms of the CO2 and the greenhouse gases. So that's why, again, Venus temperature is actually 460 degrees. Okay, so the reason why I showed this comparison is that what is the difference then between these two? Because the distance is really negated by sulfuric acid. It's the atmospheric composition, right? Atmospheric composition of both the planets that warms or cools the temperature. And since we are looking for a thermostat, so that means atmospheric composition of Earth would have changed over the years. कि greenhouse gas कभी कम होती होंगी या कभी ज़्यादा होती होंगी. तो अब ज़्यादा मान लो if the sun is weak initially, the sun's strength was not that strong, so why didn't we go in a snowball phase? It's because the greenhouse gases at that point, and I'll explain how and why. What is it that controls the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere? So it's the greenhouse gases really that has been changing in the Earth's atmosphere to make the Earth surface to temperature for it to be conducive to sustain life through billions of years. Okay? So you'd see that there's this faint sun paradox. So if you look at this plot here, this is solar luminosity, okay, relative to present value. So if this is present, you can see that how from 0.7, and luminosity is basically the amount of radiation. Let's just take it that way, straightforward. The amount of radiation, or how bright the sun has. So and this is age. 0 means present day. We are here, okay. So right now, if we assume that its sun is bright, sun is shining at its full strength here, present day. If you go back in time, billions of years, solar strength was 30% less, right? So if you look at 5 billion years or whatever, it was not as strong, sun. Now if we see the temperature of Earth, present day, without the gases, without the greenhouse gases, it would have been somewhere around here. So, with the increasing intensity of sun, the temperatures, of course, over years would have increased, but still would have been around, whatever, minus 20 something or minus 30. But it's with greenhouse gases that is also, in the atmosphere that is changed. Now, with the greenhouse gases, and if we compare now that, whatever the luminosity is changing, we look at the temperature with luminosity, it's not following the exact, if you correlate them, it's not correlated, because, it's with the greenhouse gases, which is kind of, making it feel warmer than what it would have been like without the greenhouse gases, such that the temperatures are about 15 to 17 degrees centigrade on Earth's surface. So, so again, these are simulation plots that have been done for Earth. They've not, and this seems like the most plausible solution, that greenhouse gases have changed over the years, and that is what has made Earth habitable for many years. Now, so clearly the thermostat that we have is working really nicely in terms of making the temperatures about so warm. So one of the key components then comes into picture is the carbon cycle, right? So when the carbon or CO2, because that's like the most abundant greenhouse gas, when it's not in atmosphere, kahan gaya? It would have been in some of the other reservoir, right? Either in the ocean or rocks, kahin aur chala gaya hoga. And how does it move around? And at those time scales, we are looking at really long time scales. And if you remember, long time scales are tectonic time scales, where the plates were moving millions of years, really long time scales. So these carbon exchanges that were occurring, gigatons of carbon per year changes, these changes, so ultimately we are changing the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, these were changing in longer time scales, and that is what was actually the thermostat. So if there is a forcing that makes the earth go towards cooling, really, like agar freeze kar dega, earth ke automatically, I'll show how, but earth would sort of give back the carbon that is stored in the rocks, in oceans, and carbon would be there in the atmosphere as CO2 and other greenhouse gases. And I'll tell you what is that process that either takes it or gives it back. So we have looked at this before, right? The reservoirs, carbon reservoirs, we have looked at that. The biggest reservoir is sediments and rocks. It can be silicate, it can be carbonate rocks, SiO2 or CaCO3. Silicate and carbonates. Deep oceans also store, because they don't circulate, or they don't bring the carbon back so easily or so fast. And these were the ratios of the rates at which these are exchanged per year. So you can clearly see that per year, very slow. This being the biggest reservoir, very slow exchange rate as compared to something like ocean mixed layer, relatively faster, and vegetation is even faster. It just takes up CO2, makes carbohydrate, and photosynthesis processes really fast. So you can see the bigger the reservoir, the rates are relatively slower, and the smaller the reservoirs. So the pre-industrial reservoir was about 600 gigatons, and those were the reservoirs that have been existing for many years, of course changing with long time scales. Now,
why is it that bigger reservoirs have slower exchange of carbon?
Right. So bigger, first of all, the processes involved. So you can imagine. So you need time for it to accumulate. If it's a bigger reservoir, how would it go back? How do you expect, for example, CaCO3 to what simple example, SiO2, right? SiO2 has carbon, and you'd see how SiO2 has a lot of metals also attached, and I'm coming to that in one of the next slides. But a lot of metals, complex silicates are there in the rocks, granites, basalt. It's a very strong, those of you you've learned some chemistry, SiO2 is not a very weak bond to break as compared to carbonate. Carbonate very easily dissolve. You put a very mild acid. Now they don't dissolve that easily, right? And so how are they taking up CO2? They are weathering, right? If I remember chemical weathering. So SiO2, there's a process called hydrolysis, where CO2 in the atmosphere is, of course, combining with water in the atmosphere, and sort of over time, really slow process of dissolving out silicate rocks, really slow process. So the reaction rates are very, very slow, such that over the years it accumulates. So the bigger reservoir, the processes that takes the CO2 or carbon back from the carbon reservoir, this carbon reservoir is very slow process as compared to photosynthesis. मतलब plant कितनी जल्दी grow हो जाते हैं. So it will be of course be a smaller reservoir, because it's the exchange rate, the reaction that is taking it out or giving it in are very fast, right? So the accumulation that happens doesn't happen that fast, right? It would die and decompose. The plants तो कितनी जल्दी manure change हो जाते हैं, 100 years भी नहीं लगते, right? इसमें तो so 100, so rates are very fast. So these are all relative rates. So if this is 100, to get a solid, मतलब ये rock रख दो तुम in your lifetime, do you think that would dissolve? No. Lifetime human कितना होगा? मान लो 70, 80, 90. It would not dissolve. So that is very slow. It takes millions of years for a rock to dissolve or go out. Or so when I say dissolve, it's hydrolysis process. It's not kind of घुल नहीं जाएगा. It would not become into cation and ions. Carbonate would. Carbonate would CaCa2 plus or CaCO3 2 minus वो घुल जाएगा, but not silicate rock. So this process is very slow, such that it just accumulates. So it's the biggest reservoir. And I'll show you the processes in the next slides. Right? So essentially these smaller reservoirs are small because the exchange rate is very fast. They keep exchanging, nothing accumulates so much. Yeah, so I've talked about how the pre-industrial atmospheric carbon reserve was about 600 gigatons, which of course has increased now, which is leading to more warming. Now, one question about how CO2 is brought back in the atmosphere is also, somebody said last time, how about volcanic input? Because remember when these plate tectonic, I think I discussed plate tectonic a little bit in the slides just coming after this. And how rocks or carbonate rocks, they collide and they melt, go in magma, CO2 would release, right? Volcanic activity releases CO2. So somebody was saying, how about this? Probably this would have, when the earth was really faint, when the sun was really faint, we did not have natural sunlight or heat coming from the sun. How about more CO2? Because then we'll have to change the atmospheric composition to make the earth warm. How about volcanoes playing a role in bringing CO2 in the atmosphere such that the earth was warmed? So this is a question which has been studied, but these are the volcanoes that are there or that have been there are quite erratic. It's not like we can predict where a volcano or when it can erupt, right? So it is not a process that can be kind of put in a model on a regular, in a regulated way that this is a cycle, that's where. So the models have not been able to incorporate volcanic emissions so much because these are very erratic. They don't have a cycle or anything. So also in longer scheme of things, the amount of CO2 volcanoes had put in, it's not that high. So it's clearly not the Earth's thermostat. So yeah.
I remember once you said after volcanic eruption the global temperature has decreased.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why this question is coming. So the Toba eruption that happened 75,000 years ago, it was somewhere in Indonesia, in that region. But global temperatures did decrease because of the clouds, volcanic clouds and ashes.
More of SO2
The SO2. So the SO2 essentially what forms what? Clouds. Right? It acts like in a nucleating particle on which water vapor, बहुत सारे atmospheric particles हैं, water vapor nucleates and forms clouds. And clouds, what do clouds do? They reflect back the radiation that is coming. तो एक अंधेरा सा हो जाता है एक sort of. So that was seen, and global temperatures did decline from whatever happened in Southeast Asia. But they were not great enough to compensate for 30% of solar strength, which was less. Right? So like I said, yes, this does lead to slight warming or cooling in the sense more CO2, but it would not come. So when I say thermostat means कि अगर कोई forcing है which is making the Earth's climate go towards warming, the thermostat would try to cool it. हाँ, cool it, right? कि मतलब warm नहीं होने देगा उतना, वरना तो ये फिर सारा ocean evaporate हो जाएगा. But and if a forcing, if that is leading to more of cooling, more of cooling, or like sun was not that strong, so it was leading to more of cooling. So the thermostat it would lead to warming, मतलब balance रखेगा वो temperature. That is called a thermostat. In times of, I'll just come back. क्या हो यार बच्चे, तुम व्हाट काइंड ऑफ स्टूडेंट, हम लोग तो डर के मारे हैं, मतलब टीचर आ गई है डांट रही है, देखो, फिर शुरू हो गए, निकली हूँ पीछे से शुरू हो गए, सॉरी मैम anyway, thermostat is something that would maintain the temperatures. If it's cooling, it would take it towards warming. If it's warming, it would take it to cooling. That cannot be explained by volcanoes, right? Volcanoes cannot explain कि अगर ज़्यादा cooling, let's say अगर ज़्यादा cooling हो रही है तो ज़्यादा erupt होना शुरू होगा और CO2, ऐसा नहीं है, right? It cannot be. It has been tested by models, but also logically thinking, you know, अगर ज़्यादा cooling हो रही है, ज़्यादा volcano erupt होना शुरू हो गया, ज़्यादा CO2 atmosphere में डाल दिया, या ज़्यादा वार्मिंग हो रही है फॉर एनी रीजन, चाहे सोलर स्ट्रेंथ हो या जो भी हो, तो ये कम इरप्ट हो रहे हैं, ऐसा तो नहीं है, राइट? सो दीज आर नॉट द नेचुरल थर्मोस्टेट. द ओनली नेचुरल थर्मोस्टेट दैट इज देयर is the process called chemical weathering. So first of all, let's understand what it is and how it has worked over longer period of time. So this is talking about billions of years of climate change. We are not talking about the regular. So everything has to do with the with changing in the atmospheric CO2 composition. चाहे वो अभी fossil fuel burning हो, we are increasing CO2 now. चाहे वो in the past हो, CO2 was less or more. Now what was controlling it in the atmosphere was, you know, one of the processes was this. So for example, like I said, silicate bedrock. This is an example of calcium silicate, but there could be other metals also attached. So silicate minerals are typically made up of positively charged cations. It could be calcium in that case, but could also be aluminum, magnesium, iron, potassium, and sodium. So all of them are there, and this is the main, complex, silicate complex. And these are all chemically bonded to negatively charged silicate structures, very strong minerals, not easy to break down or weather. So part of the weathered rock. So what happens really is this CO2 in the atmosphere is being taken with water, which forms bicarbonic acid, H2CO3, right? It over long time, like I said, not easily dissolved. But this hydrolysis reaction happens over longer period of time, and what goes in ultimately water is this, which is, all these cations and anions, and which ultimately also gets taken by whatever shells, forams, diatoms, and all of these living, and they get deposited on the sediment basin. Now,
but the reverse process would also be happening, right?
that is what control would, and I'll show you
so
why.
The equilibrium would lie to the very left, right?
Depends on temperature, depends on humidity, depends. That is the process, and we'll go there. We'll be coming there, Aradhya, in a bit. Okay, so this is a hydrolysis process, and this is dissolution of limestone. Like I said, carbonate can be easily dissolved. This gets dissolved, and again you might think कि दोनों तरफ carbonate कैसे है. ये जो है, this is dissolution. Ca plus HCO3 minus बनके shell उसमें जा रहा है oceans में, and these are the shells which are formed in the oceans, taking up Ca plus that was put in the ocean by rivers by dissolving out the limestone rocks. So which is faster? Dissolution is faster. Hydrolysis, like I said, silicate rocks are very strong and very slow process. Now Aradhya was saying that reverse भी तो होना चाहिए, which is what the answer is, that yes, it reverses according to what the conditions are. So it either goes forward or reverses, and this is what really controls the CO2 in the atmosphere. Now, what factors affect chemical weathering? Let's look at that first, and then we'll come to these thermostat. Okay. So temperature. This is silicate weathering. We are looking at silicate weathering because that is what is the deciding factor on long-term scales. It's a slow reaction. On longer term scale, this becomes more important as compared to carbonate dissolution. So it's the hydrolysis process that really changes the game for Earth. So silicate weathering rates double for each 10 degrees increase in temperature across the roughly 30 degrees range of mean annual temperatures found on Earth's surface. Okay. Okay, so we know that that's the temperature range versus latitude. So यहाँ पे equator है, so 90 degree north, 90 degree south, and you can see the range of temperature. So we have some plus 20, right, 20 to 30 degrees mean annual range that we have of temperature. So weathering at various locations on Earth. So weathering, like looking at this, where would be the highest weathering for silicate? इक्वेटर, राइट, क्योंकि टेम्परेचर ये कह रहे हैं डबल. सिलिकेट वेदरिंग जो है वो प्रोसेस जो है ऑफ डिसॉल्विंग आउट, टेकिंग अप CO2 एज H2CO3 एंड टेकिंग सिलिकेट एंड डिसॉल्विंग और हाइड्रोलिसिस and putting it in the ocean, that doubles every 10 degree increase. So every 10 degree increase the process, so it's these latitudes which becomes very important, right? So when we talk about past billions of years, and if you remember Pangea, so where was the main continental mass becomes the critical point then. अगर वो main continental mass यहाँ पे था तो बहुत fast weathering हो रही थी. तो even if let's say if the sun's strength for example increases, right, sun बहुत strong हो गया, temperatures on earth would increase, oceans will boil out. But no, with increase in temperature silicate weathering would also increase. CO2 जो भी है हमारी वो सब ले लेगा, so greenhouse effect in turn कम हो जाएगा, so it would lead to cooling. So even if sun strength is increasing, that driver is pushing, that climate forcing is pushing the earth towards more warming state, but that warming is also leading to more silicate weathering, right? So silicate weathering means take up of CO2 from the atmosphere, तो वो उतना ही कम कर देगा, तो उस हिसाब से temperatures हुई. So this is one factor, ठीक है? And so precipitation, so this is also called as the negative climate feedback. So if an external forcing is pushing the earth's climate towards warming or whatever, let's say in this case warming, if the sun's strength is increasing and it's pushing the earth's climate toward warming, silicate weathering has a negative feedback then by increase, weathering increase हो जाएगी because of the increase in temperature, then it will take up, that means it is taking up more of CO2 and more of that hydrolysis process is occurring. So all the CO2 from the atmosphere as greenhouse gas is reduced. So it balances out the warming forcing. Okay. So in this case, for example, increased precipitation boosts the level of groundwater held in soils, and the water combines with CO2 to form carbonic acid, and hence increase the weathering process. So this also you can see how latitude wise it changes. Why is precipitation so high here? ये वाला
ITC है.
Monsoon belts, right? Intertropical convergence zone. So that's where it moves 30 degrees north to so precipitation is really high there, and we need precipitation to weather out things or weather out silicate rocks. So that again is a groundwater silicate, both, I mean for both carbonate and silicate. So precipitation also controls how much weathering is happening where, apart from temperature, and then vegetation also, because plants extract CO2 from the atmosphere through the process of photosynthesis and deliver it to soil. Now soil maybe water hai, which again carbonic acid, so the base rock hoga, usko carbonic acid would weather out over time. So the more the vegetation, the more weathering. Now, so this is what the feedback is. Let's say the initial change, whatever it is. Let's say volcanic eruptions तो short term होते हैं, but अभी solar, let's say faint sun paradox वाली बात कर रहे हैं. So if sun has increased from 20 to 25% or 30% warmed up, so we have now, it's pushing the earth towards warmer climate, right? Warmer climate would increase temperature, precipitation and vegetation, right, on earth. All of this would increase chemical weathering. Increase chemical weathering मतलब removal of CO2, greenhouse gas कम कर देगा. So that would lead to reduction of initial warming. So this is a natural thermostat, right? तो वो normal temperature जो था पहले ही, तो whatever change, it would not change. naturally Earth has this thermostat called as the chemical weathering process. Okay? But अभी हम जितना CO2 डाल रहे हैं, that is not Earth's natural CO2. So that cannot be taken care. Because the rates we are talking here is millions of years. The rate at which we are emitting is, decades. तो उसके ऊपर ये अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते हैं कि अब जल्दी से वेदरिंग बढ़ जाए. We are talking about silicate weathering, really long term. So here, for example, any initial change that leads to colder climate, where there would be decreased, वो CO2 उतना लेगा ही नहीं, उतना weathering नहीं होगा, right? It would not remove CO2. CO2 as greenhouse gas would still be in the atmosphere, keep the temperature warm. So weathering कम हो जाएगी. So it would not let it freeze, let the earth freeze because of this cooling. Okay? All right? So you can also read the book Rudiman mein, or it's very nicely explained if you've not understood. But also feel free to ask me if you have any question. Right. I mean, how do we apply the concept to the mystery of the faint young sun paradox? That is what I've been talking about. How CO2 has changed with so it's just the atmospheric composition of CO2 that has changed when the earth was weaker. So when the early earth, when the solar radiation was weak, it did not freeze out. You remember the temperatures that I was showing, -23 or whatever. It was not a frozen snowball earth because the CO2 was not taken up. The chemical weathering reaction that would occur otherwise was not occurring. So the net CO2 was actually more in the atmosphere, right? Greenhouse. But in modern Earth, where it's now 30% stronger, we have now 30% stronger radiation coming in. We have relatively weaker greenhouse, so we're not warm naturally because CO2 is, now trapped in the rocks. So the process is, going backwards. I've talked about. So the time is up, but I've talked about plate tectonics. I'll finish this part. This plate tectonics. I've talked about it, but let's just couple of slides. Let's just quickly look at it, and then tomorrow is a class, right? Tomorrow I'll then we'll talk about what was their climate like when the plates had not come to their original position. We will talk about that. Okay, not much is known about those times, but quickly, what are plates? When we say plates, what are these plates? Plates are these are plates, ocean plates and continental plates, right? So if you can divide the earth into vertically, you would see there is a core, there's mantle, semi-solid, and then there is this solid crust of ocean crust and continental crust. Very different composition. One is basaltic, one is granitic. Different chemically, very different. One is more dense, more acidic. One is more basic. We are not going in the chemistry of those. But so there are a dozen of tectonic plates which are drifting on mantle because mantle is semi-viscous. And these plates move at rates ranging from less than 1 up to 10 centimeter per year and average about the same rate as growth of fingernail. So over a time span of 100 million years, even a slow plate motions of 5 centimeter per year add up to shifts of, now 100 million years, 5,000 kilometers. Okay, enough to destroy an entire ocean basin. So because all of them are moving, and when they're moving, remember we were talking about how when two continental plates collide, they form mountain. When one continental plate collide, ocean would subduct, and they're called subduction zone. There's also, because all of these are moving, there's also new plate being formed in the ocean at the mid-oceanic ridge or divergent boundary. So this is a mid-oceanic ridge where new, this molten material is coming up under the ocean. And seafloor spreading, we call it seafloor spreading is happening, new plates are formed, but as it's spreading, at some point and they are kind of subducting in the continental convergent margins. So all of these motions are happening, and that has led to the movement of, and so this is where the margins, plate margins actually lie, and over the years they've moved again 100 million years of time, and since they've moved, we have also seen, Earth has actually seen these kind of plates where at some point they were just one big continent called Pangaea, and then they broke into, so again, looking at time scales, these are millions of years, 200 million, there are 65 million years today. Okay, so we'll quickly talk about so it's just for these time scales, I probably have just one slide, this, where we only know, the only information that we have is how the plates have moved, and what was, whether it was not a snowball, but it was quite cold, or it was quite warm. So this is the time scale, and these are the continental location. We know much more about the period after the continental positions have taken their modern place, and that is what I'll be talking about in detail. For this, I only have very little that is there in the book. Okay? Alright, so I'll end my class here. Tomorrow I'll continue with this.
When will the quiz discussion happen?
You want to discuss? So, kal agar main time se aa gayi, I'll take 5 minutes to discuss. Otherwise, I'll just consult with my TAs. I'll set 2 days for you all to go and look at the answer sheet in my lab. Okay, I'll announce when. So if it is today 3 to 4, if they are available, it can be today and tomorrow. Okay, I'll write an email after talking to them. So, but I can discuss it tomorrow. Tomorrow when I come to class. Thank you.
X minus mean upon standard deviation. तू कब आया था? अरे तू मेरे बाद में आया था।
तेरे बाद में
तुझे मेरे से पूछना चाहिए। मेरी क्लास में अच्छा अभी देखो क्लास
कैसे लगा
मतलब इमरजेंसी
गूगल 40 बता रहे हैं, गूगल 40 बता रहे हैं, गूगल 40 बता रहे हैं।
गूगल का बता रहे मैंने।
मैंने अभी वेरीफाई नहीं किया ना। हाँ मुझे अभी आज तो चीज़ देखने जाऊँगा, लेकिन टेस्ट तो शुरू है, नेक्स्ट तो जो परफॉर्म करूँगा। परफॉर्म क्या करना है, टाइम से पहले आना क्लास में। मैं मतलब मैं तैयारी नहीं, तैयार मतलब पढ़ के आना है, एक को तैयारी करना है, टाइम से पहले आना है, खड़ा होकर देना पड़ता है। हाँ भाई मेरे दिमाग में भाई खड़े होकर एक बार एग्जाम दे गए, वो कभी आंची सीट सामने है, मेरे के आंची सीट सामने है, एक दूसरे को देख रहे थे भाई। हाँ आप बस एक ही जगह में दोनों बैठे हुए थे, दोनों खड़े हो रहे थे, अरे एक दूसरे आंखों में देख रहे थे भाई। मुझे लगा भाई मार देगा इसलिए, पता नहीं भाई अजीब से कल बना, पहली बार आए थे क्लास में, वो भी एग्जाम देने के लिए, वो मुझे देख रहे हैं एक आंसर टिक मार के, मैं देख रहा हूँ 20 मिनट से एक ही आंसर निकाल के बैठ गए, मेरे इंतजार कर रहा है मैं कुछ टिक मारूँ, मेरे दिमाग में कुछ चल नहीं रहा था। मैं तो ये सोच रहा था 50 बच्चे क्लास में, 40 बच्चे वाली चीज़ में क्या करना।
क्या
रोस्टर का सर्कस चला दिया
क्या
प्यार आया था आवाज कर रहा मैं केटे के बात नहीं करता अरे प्यार आया था
ये कन्फर्टिंग की थी ब्रेड ना की थी अब
लिख के दे
वो बिग बोर्ड आती है
नहीं है नोटिस दे दो नोटिस दे दो भाई मार मार मार